Sure, thanks, Carl. No, it's not 6 o'clock yet.
There's the buzzer.
Not according to my clock, it's still 5.
It's early. Yeah, it's about, a minute early.
Really? It's Zach's fault. Oh, 6 o'clock. Welcome to the April 7th, 2024 regularly scheduled City Council meeting. Would you all rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Billy, roll call, please.
Becky Curtis,
Here.
Gina Reed Hibler,
Here.
John Breckenridge,
Here.
Karen Hamlet, here, John Feiger.
He's not here by this yet, is he? Of course, that doesn't really count anyway. Okay. So this brings us to our first public participation. If anybody wants to come and talk to the council, please come up forward, write on the paper your address, phone number, and you have 5 minutes. That moves us to our consent agenda. Is there anybody that would like to remove something from the consent agenda and take care of it on our own? All right. The city clerk will now read the items on the consent agenda.
Item A, motion to approve the minutes of the March 17th, 2025 City Hall work session. Item B, motion to approve the minutes of the March 17th, 2025 regular session.
I will now entertain a motion to pass the consent agenda. Second. All in favor of passing the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It passes. 4 in favor, 0 opposed. That takes us on to the appointments. Kelly.
We don't have any appointments tonight.
So when is there, do we have any coming up?
Yes, we do. We should have something soon from the Code Board of Appeals. And in June is the planning and zoning and the park board. We have some upcoming, just nothing yet.
Okay. All right, that takes us to the city manager's report. Steve.
Great, thank you very much, Mayor. I just had a couple of quick items. One, which is now in the past tense, was we were working with the advisory committee on the schedule for repairs to City Hall, and for the public, then we did agree to send out the bid for phase 1 tomorrow, actually. And phase 1 is what we call the demolition remediation. That is really a clean slate, bringing the building back to everything out of it that is mold and vermin, and be able to begin building on it anew. And we'll send that out tomorrow, and we'll get that back in 4 weeks. The next issue is a low interest energy savings loan. I'm going to ask Lance Raines to talk about that, since he was working on this last week while I was out.
I was working on it until I figured out that we were only going to get around $4,000, and we had to have our architect come up with some of the numbers, because they had to measure all the windows, lighting fixtures, amount of kilowatts. With the help of staff, I had everything done except for all the measurements. And then we only had till today that they were due. And I knew that we weren't going to make it in time after we found out. And also the city of Cameron had also got one in the past whenever they updated all the lighting with the automatic lighting. So we were only looking at $4,000 out of the whole project. I thought I could probably spend my time better than chasing that one.
So unless somebody asks us to, otherwise we'll let that one drop, Lance.
Already dropped because it was due today.
All right.
So,
all right. We have our past tense and future tense sometimes, because we put these out on Thursday, and on Friday and Monday sometimes happen. Okay, the next thing we have was the Agron property closing. That was the 4 acres north of Walmart. We did close on that and settled on that on March 31st, a little bit. And that was $80,000 less. Okay, and unless the city council has any other questions, that's all I have for this evening.
Did you have a nice vacation?
I have to tell you that the weather was better here than it was in the Bahamas, so if you can believe that.
No.
But I did, so thank you very much.
Glad you made it back.
Great, thank you.
All right, that moves us on to unfinished business. Shelley, will you read Bill 2025-9?
Bill 2025-9, an ordinance authorizing the city of Cameron accounting staff to write off uncollectible utility accounts for the city of Cameron, Missouri.
I will entertain a motion to pass for a second and final reading on roll call, Bill 2025-9. Discussion? Shelley?
Gina Reed Hibler.
Yes.
John Breckenridge.
Yes.
Karen Hamlin.
Yes.
John Feiger. Becky Curtis.
Yes. That moves us on to new business. Shelley, we have resolution 2025-17.
Resolution 2025-17, a resolution for the city of Cameron, Missouri to authorize the creation of job descriptions for part-time firefighters and fire officers and amending the firefighter's job description for the city of Cameron Fire Department.
I will entertain a motion to pass resolution 2025-17. Discussion.
Okay, thank you very much. This is mostly fire department issues, and I asked Mike O'Donnell to talk about it.
Okay, thank you, council. I'll go through this fairly quickly and briefly. To start with, I met with the personnel committee of the council back probably a month and a half, 2 months ago, and discussed with them what I'm going to discuss with you tonight. And they was in favor of this and asked to bring it back to council once I got it completed. So is what I part of my long range plans has always been to have some maybe full-time staff or part-time full-time staff. So that's what the first part is. Is what I plan on doing is on weekends, 8 hours on Saturday, 8 hours on Sunday, using my own staff, my own paid-per-call firefighters on a volunteer basis to sign up and be here at the station for 8 hours on Saturday and 8 hours on Sunday, 2 each time. That way there's multiple things they can do here. Number one, they can be here to respond if they need to. They can also, we take care of the building. So over time, it's got to be a lot. We maintain the building, keep everything clean, keep the equipment up and that type of thing. It's getting to be more than 1 or 2 of us can do. So if I put on that staff, they'll be here to full maintenance on the building, full maintenance on the equipment, and then also be here to run that on first call. So that would be 2, and then everybody else would just respond as normal. The cost of that would they would be paid individuals. The cost of that would come from my quarters and sales tax. The second thing, as I was going through this, I found that my officers did not have any kind of job description. Back a few years ago, when the city updated their job descriptions and payroll and looked at that, the fire officers didn't. They were not included. So I went through and on all my fire officers, which would be the chief, assistant chief, captain, lieutenant, and engineer. Now I've designed a job description for them. So that's in this resolution also. And then on the third, as I was looking at firefighter, my firefighter description had been adopted back at that time, but there were some discrepancies with inside that job description that I wanted to basically add a little bit more criteria to it and make some automatic changes, which I did. So that's within that job description also. Also within those job descriptions, you'll find as you read my resolution, each one of those positions are basically are compensated pay wise. My firefighters at the present time get $30 per call as pay per call firefighters. My officers get paid administrative fee, so much for each one. So I have designed inside this that the fire chief would be responsible for setting that number with the approval of the city manager. And that has been done over the past several years, and actually when we've done that is at budget time. So it's all been figured, all those dollars have been figured into my budget every year up to now. But this actually puts it into a resolution that says who can do it and how it can be done. So it has a device to do that. Okay. So that's basically in a nutshell what it is. There's only one thing that I will say as we was going through this after it was all printed. The city has a when I put on new firefighters, we go get a physical, and that physical, just like any other city employee, there are certain weights that they have to push it full, and we found that what is designed in that physical is different than what's in some of these job descriptions. So we want to clarify that and bring them all back so everything's equal. So it'll be changed after the fact. That's just a minor number change. Basically, it's 100 pounds and everything's 50 pounds in the cities.
So the job descriptions that we have attached do not have those changes made to them yet, so we will make those changes
I
before
think
they become,
two of them, I think, is all there
before
is.
they become finalized.
So anyway, that, you have any questions for me?
We have no financial scoring of any kind. Is this just a really minor thing? Part-time over the weekend?
Is what it amounts to financial wise. If you look at 4 people, 8 hours, if you look at 4 firefighters for 8 hours for 2 days for 52 weeks out of the year, you're looking at about $36,000. And that comes out of my course and sales tax budget.
How long is your course and for? Does it have a sunset?
It sunsets in, I guess that's a 20-year sunset. I'm up to 9 years.
You okay with this? Have you looked at this?
Not in depth, but they have a substantial budget now.
Okay.
I know, but what happens if he doesn't get that quarter cent back?
Then we would have to reconsider the operational standards if, at that point in time.
That's the only thing, there.
Yeah, literally 9 years ago when this was put together, my plan was at some point in time looking at the possibility of having to have full-time people because not being able to get volunteers. And I tell you, just be right honest with you, when we put it together and we sunsetted it 20 years, I told the council at that time, how can I have full-time employees on the sunset? You can't do that. So you kind of have 3 alternatives really. You either come with money out of the general fund budget to pay for it, you fire them, or you just don't have as many. So, but right now we're good. I have plenty of money to do this with no problem at all. And here again, I think you have to look at what you're actually doing. We're actually using personnel with volunteers to maintain your building and your equipment, because we are sending in this department, my fire department, we are sending hardly nothing out for repairs. Practically 100% of everything gets done in-house by firefighters for free right now at the present time. And that's saving a whole lot more than $36,000 a year.
Well, I'd rather it go to our citizens.
So
And you've got enough guys that are gonna step up to do this.
I've talked to my staff, and as you know, the younger firefighters are more energetic than
Yeah.
some of us older ones, but I'm sure I'll be able to get some, staff as time goes on. I already have them coming in, working anyway
Yeah.
for free. So this would give them a little bit of incentive, more so than anything, to come in and help out. take their weekend, but that's their time off.
Right.
So are you gonna plan to move into a full-time firefighting force?
Not at the present time. And I can share with you all my statistics if you want. I've been collecting statistics yearly for several years now. So I can go in and I can show you the amount of calls, the number of firefighters, percentages, type of fires, day and night, hours, that type of thing. I have all that data. And if you look at all that data at the present time with the staff I have, it doesn't pay to have a full-time department, number one. Number two, you can't afford it. You can't afford a full-time department on my 4% sales tax.
No.
You can't even come close.
Break us.
Well, I think a community our size couldn't have.
And, you know, just to say, let me see, with my general fund budget, the biggest percent of that is in the salary line. But you have to remember of my general fund budget, around 50% of that money that I get, which is somewhere around 240,000, if I'm not mistaken, is what my general fund budget is. About $120,000 of that comes from the Cameronville Fire Protection District. So the city of Cameron is only out of pocket, the city, 120,000. The rest of it is coming from the rural. Plus all the equipment that's stuck out there in the back.
Right.
And there's millions of dollars out there.
Curious, the timing, the timing of this, is there something that had you decided to implement this now and not sometime before?
Just basically because I have about 3 of us officers that spend our Sundays down here. And it's getting to be that there's just a lot to do. I mean, we're remodeling, we're keeping the trucks up, we're washing them, we're cleaning them, we're going on calls. We come down here Sunday and work, for example, last Sunday we come down here to work, we run out on 2 calls in the midst of that. So the next thing you know, it's 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon before we get out of here. So this gives those new individuals or new firefighters the opportunity to come down and be a part and take a part of that and help alleviate. I can spend my time, more of my time looking for grants and doing that stuff, the paperwork, instead of going back here and cleaning cobwebs out of the ceiling. That's basically the bottom line, and that's what I do.
That was worth $36,000.
Yeah,
I know your church, this place is always open up, there's always somebody.
it amounts to $20 an hour is what I asked for, and in your packet there should be a letter that I sent to the city manager requesting $20.
All that. I'm not, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard this before. Yeah, I had, and I saw this and I'm like, wow. Okay, because it was like cold turkey to me. It was like, I didn't even know this was coming down the pipe. But of course, he was gone this week, so kind of let us know. And you went to personnel, which is fantastic, which you should have done. It's just like, I didn't know this was even coming. So, okay, I got it. Sounds good.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, all those in favor of passing resolution 2025-17, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes. 1 favor, 0 opposed. That takes us to resolution 2025-18, Kelly.
Resolution 2025-18, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Cameron, Missouri, in support of joining the MoCan Regional Council Safe Streets and Roads for All Safety Action Plan Agreement.
I would entertain a motion to pass resolution 2025-18.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
We did have a discussion. Okay, we had a second. Okay, thank you very much, Mayor and Council. We had a presentation about this from MOCAN a couple of weeks ago. This is the Safe Streets and Road Action Plan, which we will join MOCAN and a number of other cities to become a part of this program. Right now, the cost is $3,333, but it may be less than that depending on if more people join. I know Lance has been working with MOCAN on it, and Lance, would you like to give us some more information on that?
Actually, Kathy and I both will give you more information on that. Thank you, Mayor and Council. And I will say, after talking to Kathy this evening, it's not $3,333.33 anymore. It's down to,
We got it down to 2,500. I'm Kathy Hahn with Spokane Regional Council. So we've got it down to 2,500. We're still in the process. We've got about 5 or 6 other communities that we're going to go speak with. So we're hoping we can get it down even further. We'll know more of that here in the next couple. But the Safe Streets for All will allow us to do an action plan to help create a plan to show different remedies for safer streets, safer sidewalks. And in return, that action plan will help us get a grant through federal grant that's up to $25 million per project. It's an 80-20 match. So if we do the safe action plan for Safe Streets and are able to apply for other grants, the one that's up to $25 million, this can help with the project out at EV Highway as well as Livermore Road. There is the 80-20 split for the $25 million grant, but we can also find other funding to help relieve that expense there. But there are other grants in place that we can find to help. So this will help offset some of those expenses. We're coming together with our other communities in the area to help write this plan to help future of our roads and sidewalks and making our community safer.
Will this build sidewalks?
Yeah.
Plan sidewalks?
Good.
Yeah.
and I'll jump in here.
Okay.
So not only does it put us into the $25 million category, but it also opens up a bunch of other doors. Because one of the things when you write a grant, for like the TAP grant, you go to MoDOT, the first thing they ask is, you have a plan? We don't have one. So we lose out on points to St. Joe every single time. This will actually give us a plan that we can go back to and say, we have a plan, we get those points. Now we're going to jump over somebody else that doesn't. So it opens up a lot of doors that we wouldn't have opened in the past. And for the amount of money that we're spending, and yes, I do have it in my budget. This is just good economic development and planning for the future of Cameron.
So in planning, that having an action plan, so MOCAN along with our city gets an action plan, is that how?
We're part of their action plan, which is a chapter, I'm assuming.
So we'll work with the communities that are paying. So the split is an 80-20 split. So we're going around to our communities who does want to pay for that 20 split. The action plan will be revolved. We'll have meetings. MOCAN will come, schedule meetings, and we'll create an action plan specifically for Cameron as well as our other communities. But yes, we'll have different meetings and things like that to create an action plan specifically here.
One of the most dangerous places that I almost run into people on a daily basis is on Harris Street down by the low income housing.
Mm-hmm.
They're literally putting their kids on the streets with strollers trying to get to Business 36
Mm-hmm.
and up the country. That is a very dangerous place.
So that would be something as we get this going right now. We have the next couple of weeks to get our communities involved. We'll get our information submitted, and as we have our meetings, that's something we can put into that plan. Once we can find other grants, if that grant, the $25 million grant, doesn't work, we can help find something else. That could even be another grant opportunity for something. But as we hold our meetings, we'll find those places that we really need to look for and find hopefully something to fix that for you.
As the needs of the city.
Yeah.
Which is the goal of the whole plan, is to take care of the needs of the city.
Being able to get from one place to another on your feet and not having to be in a street.
On a bicycle or a moped or
And it'll also help if we go for another block grant in the future for another, for another street. if we have a plan, once again, that's more points we get in the application where it makes us more fundable. Just opens up so many more doors.
And we'll have a final cost, so like I said, we're meeting with other communities the next couple of weeks. Right now, we've got it down 2,500, so we'll have a better estimate on the
Any questions?
Who funds Mocan?
So we are funded like through federal and state grants. So, as Lance had mentioned, we do community development block grants. We get some admin fees off of that. We do get a state grant, but most of our grants are, or most of our funding comes from grants that we help write. And then we're given an admin fee to help administer those grants, for the community. We have 4 communities or 4 counties in Missouri and 2 counties.
All those in favor, any other discussions? All those in favor of passing resolution 2025-18, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes. 4 in favor, 0 opposed. That takes us to our second public participation. Again, if you have something you'd like to speak with us about, please come to the podium, sign in, and you have 5 minutes. What?
Jennifer Smith, 8567 Northwest Crouch Road. And I kind of felt like I needed to backtrack a little bit to what a brand is. I think we kind of, in past times, a brand is your letterhead, your business cards, the signage out in front of your city hall. And that's what a brand was. And it was very effective, and it told a lot for people, and it was a much smaller world back then. And now that we are so large, we have the internet, we have access to all kinds of people and all kinds of things, branding has shifted and changed to what it is. And so a branding is basically a story we tell about ourselves to other people. It's what we choose to tell. Just like in a family, we don't go out there and throw out all our dirty laundry necessarily, or all our struggle stories. We go out and put the best stories that people get the best vision of who we are. And so I know there's been a lot of talk about money, and yes, you can spend a lot of money. I keep saying this. In fact, you could spend a lot of money on a branding package for the town. It would start at $10,000, and that's on the very low end. But we have resources in this town, and we have people who are willing to do things, and so we don't have to spend that kind of money. And I'm, like on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm going to a creative district meeting that the Missouri Arts Council is putting on, and I'm paying for that myself. So there's people who want to do things and want to help, that we don't have to spend money. Of course, we could spend, but we don't have to get stuck on that. Let's start with the story of who we are and what we are about. And so it kind of goes to this, this woman who was talking, she's the branding expert, and she talks about, she was going to work and she went to this coffee shop, and in this coffee shop, she's standing behind a guy who orders breakfast. It's 8 a.m. in the morning. He orders breakfast, and he orders this double chocolate chocolate muffin. And she's going, oh, that's brilliant. This company is brilliant. People who do this really get the idea of genius marketing. Is it socially acceptable to order chocolate cake for breakfast? No, it's just, and I mean, maybe once in a while, but most of the time we're going to say, no, it's not healthy. No, you shouldn't do that. But here we are, thousands of people ordering a chocolate salted caramel muffin every morning because it's called a muffin and not a cake. That is branding. That is positioning and storytelling of who you are. We can do that in Cameron. We can bring about our stories and be able to tell them in a way that makes people intrigued, that makes people go, what can we do this weekend? Let's go to Cameron. They always have things going on. So the storytelling is the first thing we do, not spend the money. And so then there's other things. I gave you this brochure, and it doesn't start with money. It starts with vision, consistency, and community. So It's the vision part is the hardest part to get across and to understand. And not everybody gets the vision part because it's a vision. It's not in concrete terms yet. And so it's hard when we don't see how that's going to come about. But the fact of the matter is, so many visions come about from so many little towns that this is not something that we can't do. We are totally capable of doing that. Cameron has so many people and so many resources that other towns don't have that we can use for that storytelling to build that vision. And the vision is the North Star that guides all the decisions from the signage to events to anything that happens. This weekend,
1 minute.
okay, this weekend I participated in a retreat over there at the old school, brought in several ladies and lots of money they spend in town. Sarah's Treasures. She got second place in Best in Rural Missouri. And she talked about 60% of the people come from out of town. And I thought, how can we, I didn't even know that until I went across her Facebook. But if we promoted those kinds of things and talked about them and started that storytelling, it would help. So I have a couple questions. I know that there was the talk of a committee earlier. Is that something you want to do? And also, it's hard for me to explain the vision of rebranding in 5-minute increments every 2 weeks. And so is there a time that I could talk to the city council, something like that, in order to push that further so that there's no misunderstanding among people? So those 2 questions.
We will, I don't have an answer, but we'll definitely get one for you. So we can talk about that. Well, first of all, I think branding is great, and I agree, it's not using the money, it's all having the same voice.
Yeah. And I know you guys have spent a lot of time trying to fix what past councils have done. And so that sometimes takes up all your energy when you're just trying to put out fires. But in being visionary, think about what you want to leave as a new city council, what you want to leave for people.
Well, thank you. I don't know, putting her on an agenda item, that would still only leave for 5 minutes, correct?
Well, we could put a discussion item on the agenda, discussion of branding.
We'll put that. That way it's not limited to 5 minutes. Anyone else? Thank you. And that means that we are into where, comments from the staff.
Okay, and I have nothing further, but I think we've started the other end of the road there. Chief of Police has something.
Our department was recognized by Lexipol. That is our policy management, who we use our department policies through. We were recognized with the gold award this year, or for last year, for our law enforcement policy management.
Could you put that in more layman's term, what that means?
So our policies and procedures for the police department. This company is who we go through for all of our policies and procedures, and we do training, daily training bulletins. They take care of our policies. We can update our policies. The company does all that for us. And so for the training and everything we've done last year, we were recognized with the gold award through them.
How many people do they have that they serve, do you know?
A lot.
Their
I don't know a number. That,
Nationwide.
yes, it's a nationwide company.
Congrats.
All right, so do we start back over here and go that way, or do we go this way?
Sure, we'll go again with Ira maybe and come down.
Nothing for me. Just kind of an update. We went live with our utility billing, our new utility billing software last week. It's not been without its hiccups, and just ask for everybody to be patient with us while we work through the bugs and get everything straightened out on it.
I know Shelley's been working really hard on it.
working on the IT master plan. We're kind of in a holding pattern because of the billing system. But we can still refine and drive forward.
Any news, Lance?
This is a 270-page document on 112 East Third. This is the phase 2 that with the help of Kathy and Mocan, they got that done for us to do that demolition. Now, they've also been nice enough to help us get someone to write up a set of bid specs for said 270-page phase 2 environmental, which takes care of asbestos, lead, and any other hazardous materials in there. So we're hoping to have it bid specs to us and bid out within a couple of weeks. Yeah. But they're helping, Kathy went so far as to help us get that paid for through their RLF. And so we're gonna get that paid for and then the bids out. And that way we comply with EPA and DNR, because I probably could have tried to write them up. But with everything that goes with DNR and EPA, I didn't want to make a mistake on something that was this touchy. And so it's better off to let the professional do the professional job. And so once we get that done, then we'll be out for bid. It takes 2 weeks, then pick a contractor and find out how long it's going to take them to get.
Bid for demolition.
Hopefully it'll all be done and over for Thanksgiving. For,
It'll be done for
July, 4th of July.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be nice.
Thanks for your help.
Tad is covering for building inspections for us right now, so we had a couple of building inspections and code items.
I got 3 things. Now the ground temperature has warmed up. Street crews have had the patch machine out for the last 2 weeks. The lady that was here at the last council meeting at the 1109 West Prospect, she was wanting to know when the neighbor was going to get the mess cleaned up. He actually went to court the 27th of March, and he has till the 24th of April to get it cleaned up. So I checked into that, so we're staying on top of that.
Yeah, good, because I went by there and that's quite a deal.
And last thing I got is the 14th, Monday. The airport will be closed and that project will be underway.
For how long, do you know?
They are hoping to get it done in about 6 months.
Oh, the airport, of course, we're totally resurfacing the entire airstrip.
We're tearing it all out and putting new runway lighting and updating all
That'll
that.
bring some businesses to town.
One of the questions they always ask, do you have an airport?
Yeah, but unfortunately, some people have bigger jets, so they can't get in because of the size of ours. I know some staff is wanting to increase that, but that takes more money. But it's great.
That's all I have.
Everyone or most of the administrative staff at City Hall is working on this conversion, and we are making small steps. And it's just happening. We're still hanging in there.
Be nice one.
Chief, do you have anything else we need to talk to us about?
Just want to remind everybody, tomorrow is election day. Go out and vote. The personal financial disclosures are due to the Ethics Commission before May 1st, or anybody who hasn't done those yet needs to get those done. And we will be having a special meeting next Monday at 5 o'clock to certify the election and instill a new council member. But that will be at 5 because they're in the P&Z meeting at 6 afterwards.
I'll never forget the first year I did that. I showed up late because I thought it was at 6.
We waited.
I did. I was early, but still late. But anyway, okay. Councilwoman?
Nothing, bang.
We're gonna manage the pool this year. Where are we at on staffing?
We're better than last week, huh?
We'll make that and we will do it.
I had heard that we had a manager, assistant manager in 15, 16-ish
Yeah,
lifeguards hired.
yeah, and I think
And
Ira
another
has
10 don't,
I wouldn't say hired.
or
We've had
going through the
15,
process,
15, 16 have passed their
have
certification
passed,
courses.
okay.
We have roughly 30 lifeguards that have applied and gave me dates to go to the certification class. I am roughly waiting on another 7 to 10 that haven't given me dates yet. And then I haven't got the applications yet, but with pretty good authority, I'll have another 5 or 6 from another town.
Do we have a manager and assistant manager hired?
In the works.
In the works, okay. Okay, so it's coming along nicely,
Coming along nicely.
okay.
And so it's about getting close to the opening. We are gonna have, is it, oh God, I lost the name, Herner, is it Herner? Gonna open?
Well, I'm not her,
Who is that?
Brothers.
Brothers, yes.
Brothers, but I've been made contacts with another company called Bison Construction, an outfit that redid all of our free shelters for us. And their actual main work is pool maintenance and de-winterization.
Oh.
So I made a contact with him and I'm supposed to meet up with him this week and he's gonna reach out and he's gonna give me a bid on doing that for us for the de-winterization process and the winterization process, just like for others. So I'm hoping maybe that might save us a little bit of money. And like I said too, I have something maybe possibly in my pocket, if something we can work on the pumps that me or the water guys don't know, have education in. That way we'll have somebody there for that for downtime, basically. Yes, it's looking a lot better than a month ago and looking a lot better than a week ago. Like I said, that we still will have to do interviews and stuff like that, so not counting my chickens quite just yet, but definitely better.
It does sound good. Well, good work, 'cause I know that's a lot of work on you.
That, and then we got, hopefully, I'm starting getting bids for extending the parking lot out to Somerville and stuff too. Working on that. Hopefully, maybe try to add 300 parking spots out to there, because I know that's been a high priority. We don't have enough parking out there. Trying to get proposals together and somewhat of a cost.
Anything else, Tom?
Thanks.
Councilwoman Gina?
Downtown businesses have put together a shop and hop event. It's running today through the 18th, and so I would encourage people to go shop in town Cameron.
You said through the 18th?
What's your pop like?
Well, I appreciate the people that came tonight. Thank you for coming. And I think that's all we have for tonight. So I will entertain a motion to exit our normal city council meeting and go into executive on.
For attorney-client communication personnel and negotiated contracts.
So is that a roll call?
Do roll call.
Who was the second? I'm sorry. I missed it.
Yeah,
Me.
this guy right here.
John Breckenridge.
Yes.
Karen Hamlin.
Yes.
John Pfeiffer. Becky Curtis.
Yes.
Gina Reed Hitler.
Yes.
All right. Good night, guys.
Thank you.